Hello, all saints. The Lord be with you. I've been reading a little bit of the Sermon on the Mount recently, and early in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus gives some instructions to his disciples. His first instruction really has to do with them being persecuted and in trouble. Blessed are you, he says, when people persecute and speak badly of you. What one commentator talked about as verbal abuse and defamation and persecution directed at the disciples. He says you're blessed, happy because of this, partly because of a reward in heaven, and partly because you're like the prophets. Well, they're like the prophets, I think, because they were persecuted for the same reason. And part of the way to understand the reason is the next part of this Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus goes on to talk about the disciples being the salt of the earth and the light of the world. They seem to be not connected, but I want to suggest to you that the idea of being persecuted and defamed and otherwise spoken badly about is directly related to what Jesus says about salt. You are the salt of the earth. And then it goes on to talk about salt that's lost its flavour. There are a couple of difficulties with that part of the Sermon on the Mount, and one of them has to do with the trying to understand, really, how salt can lose its saltiness. And the other one, of course, is that the word that Jesus used is never used anywhere in Greek literature to do with being unsalty. It has the idea of being foolish or mad or crazy or stupid. And so I think that Jesus is using this word not in the sense that he thinks the disciples will lose their saltiness, because as everybody knows, it's very hard to understand how that could be. You're either salty or you're not. And I think Jesus is being ironic. He's saying to his disciples, you are the salt of the earth, and if other people think you're foolish, which is part of the slander and the defamation coming from those who are persecuting them and hate them, if other people think you are like that, take no notice. Well, if you were like that, he says, yeah, you would be thrown out and trampled underfoot. But you're not actually like that. You are the salt of the earth. And the next little section is saying the same thing in different words. You're the light of the world. If you've got light, you put it up where it can be seen. A city put out on a hill can't be hidden. You put it on the hill so it can be seen too. And he goes on to say that you should let your lights shine so that people can see your good deeds and give glory to your Father in heaven, which is actually quite a turnaround from the earlier part, where people are defaming and accusing them of wrong and slandering them and persecuting them. When people see the saltiness and the light of the disciples, they will see the good deeds of the Father. They will see the good things that God does, and they'll glorify God. Now, they won't do it just because of good deeds. They'll do it because the good deeds are part of the life and the explanation and the proclamation of the disciples. All of that will go together. But Jesus, I think, is encouraging us too, as disciples, to remember that we are salt and we are light, and our life, our deeds, our actions, our words will actually all are contributing to the glory of the Father. And the reason for it, of course, is that they are the deeds of the Father. When you live like the Father, when you do the things that the Father does, then you do glorify him. Now, we at All Saints, we've had a long history of helping and contributing to people throughout Indonesia who are doing good. We support about 22 different, what we call outreach projects. Well, they're different Christian ministries scattered across Indonesia, a wide range of them, some Bible translations, some teaching the Bible, some helping people in schools and universities to follow Christ, some dealing with orphans and the poor, helping people to read, all sorts of things. And we've been doing this for a really long time. But amongst our outreach projects, there are some now that have lost some coordinators. Some people have moved away from Indonesia. They've got other things that they have to do with their time. And some of our coordinators are handling 2 or 3 or more different projects. And so I want to say to you today that this is a ministry where All Saints shares and has a part in the good deeds that lots of people are doing around Indonesia. These are Christian ministries. These are the works of the Father. And it could be that you, now, this year, God might be calling you to have a share in this. This will be a great privilege, I think, to have a share in contributing to ministries amongst the poor, amongst the needy, amongst the bringing of the gospel, of spreading the scriptures, all sorts of things. If you'd like to do this, please talk to the Chair of Outreach, Myrna, or speak to Andrew or myself, because we really need some extra people who will share these ministries. And you may not think that you're up to it. Maybe you don't think you're capable. Well, I'm sure we can help you do it. These are things that all sorts of people can share in. As we are part of a large group of Christians and churches who continue to be salt and light and share in the good deeds of the Father.